Good evening and welcome to the first Crimewatch UK of 1990 with a new set of cases we hope you can help with. Perhaps this evening you'll see something or someone you recognise and enable the detectives behind us to solve the investigations they're working on at the moment. If you do, here's the number to ring to speak to them, 01811 8055. And from now on we also have a Minicom phone for deaf viewers who'd like to contact us. The number is 01743 2468.
We've news tonight of progress on some of our previous appeals and 3 new reconstructions. The man who disappeared until a drought reduced the level of a nearby lake. The driver who, for at least 6 years, has been pestering women and schoolgirls on streets across the north of England. An extraordinary highway robbery, a jewel dealer's car forced off the road near Warrington. And photo call, faces you may have seen of people police would like to speak to.
Our first case is an investigation which began in September. The summer's hot weather had reduced the level of a reservoir at Ripponden in West Yorkshire. Someone noticed what looked like a body in the shallow water. As a result, what had for nearly a year been a missing persons inquiry became a full-scale murder investigation. The victim was 23-year-old Laurence Winstanley from Oldham, near Manchester. Laurence was a car fanatic. He was a dedicated motor mechanic and worked all hours running his own workshop from a converted pigsty in Shover on the outskirts of Manchester.
Three half Sandra, please.
He'd been working on Sunday, October the 2nd, but about 1:45, he dropped into the local pub, the Windsor, in Shaw Road in Ripponden. He was a regular there, although it was unusual for him to be there at lunchtime.
Windsor. Just a moment, please. Laurence, phone.
Right, come in. Right. I'm just going to go around to my mother's house, lads. I'll be back in a minute, all right?
Aye, all right.
Witnesses remember that Laurence seemed agitated after taking that phone call. Laurence's mother lives 5 minutes' drive away from the Windsor pub, but he didn't arrive there until after 3 o'clock, more than an hour later. Where had he been in the meantime? Ever since Laurence had left home, he'd visited his mother regularly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
Hello,
Mum.
Do you want a cup of coffee?
No, thanks. I'm in a bit of a rush. I've got a lot on today. I just wanted to see you were all set to go to Windermere.
Oh, yes.
Listen, I brought you this to spend. Yeah, take that.
Oh, are you sure? Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure. I've got 240 quid here.
Oh, you shouldn't show people money like that.
Nah, it's all right.
Are you all right? You look a bit worried.
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Listen, what time is it?
It's 3:30.
Oh, listen, I'll have to go. I'm in a real rush. I'm sorry, Mum. Bye, Mum.
Bye, love.
Listen, have a great time.
Oh, all right.
See you when you get back.
Right.
Bye.
Later that Sunday evening, Laurence was back in the Windsor.
So listen, when can you come and fill that pitting for us up at the garage?
Oh, come and have a look tomorrow, eh?
Only I've got that spade of yours in the case. I can go get it now if you like.
No, don't bother. We've got plenty at work.
So how much material do you think you'll need to fill in the pit?
Don't know. Like I said, I'll come and have a look at it tomorrow. I can start tomorrow if you like.
Oh, that's great, yeah. All right, I'll see you later. All right.
OK, see you, Laurence.
Nobody actually saw Laurence leave the pub that night, so the builder is the last known person to have seen him alive. That night, Laurence Winstanley disappeared. Nearly a year later, the hot weather during this last summer caused the water in Baitings Dam at Ripponden in West Yorkshire to drop. Someone saw something that looked like a body and called the police.
What have we got, sir? There's certainly a body down there, sir. I can't tell at the moment whether it's male or female. It appears to be wrapped in some sort of material and it's weighted down. Let's see what.
We'll go to Halifax in seconds.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We've now established that the body recovered from Baitings Reservoir on the 26th of September of this year is that of Laurence Winstanley. He was a motor dealer, and at the time when he went missing, it was believed that it was a simple missing from home. The inquiries that were carried out at that time could establish no reason why he should go missing.
2 days after Laurence had disappeared, his car was taken to a scrapyard.
Just to run, lads?
Yeah.
Just put it over there, will you?
Laurence had recently paid £350 for that car, planning to do it up and sell it for about £800, so he wouldn't have let it go for scrap. Three weeks later, a workman at the scrapyard recognised the car from a report he'd seen in the local newspaper and reported it to the police. A few weeks after that, after officers working on the missing persons inquiry had checked it over, the car was scrapped. Well, this had been a particularly violent murder. Mr. Wilkinson, have you discovered a motive at all for it?
After 16 weeks of inquiries, we've been unable to establish why anybody should want to kill Laurence Winstanley. It would appear from our inquiries that he had a life separate from that known to his family and friends, and it is this part of his life that is a mystery to us in the inquiry, and we feel that anybody who knew him in that part of his life might hold the answer to this murder, and we appeal for those people to come forward. Anybody who I haven't spoken to at present who know him.
How do you know he had a secret life? Was it to do with cars, or...?
It could well to be do with his cars or his social life. The actual contents of that life we don't know, but we feel that it is an important part of our inquiry.
No clues then on the phone caller in the pub?
Again, we've been unable to trace the person who made that phone call, but it is of such significance to the inquiry because it caused Laurence to be worried. It caused him to leave the public house that day and tell people he was going to his mother's, but he didn't go there for another hour. We want to trace that caller. We want them to come forward. We think they know what caused him to be worried that day.
Laurence disappeared on the 2nd of October, a Sunday, and so did his car, not to reappear again until the 4th of October. Where do you think that was during that time?
We're trying to trace the movements of that car. It must have either been garaged or parked up somewhere between those two dates. It is essential for us that we find out where the car was. It could be that when it was taken in at 7:35 on that Tuesday morning, that it was in fact taken in by somebody not connected with the murder but on behalf of somebody else. And we're appealing for that person. They might not want to come forward because of the horrific nature of this murder. A man's been shot and burnt, and he might be frightened for his own safety. We want that person to come forward to assist us. He gave the name Burrows, which might be significant.
This is one of the 3 men at the scrapyard that day.
That is.
This pickaxe head that you've brought in here and sash cord like this had been used to weight down and tie Laurence's body in the reservoir.
That's correct.
What clues do these provide?
The pickaxe head was new. It would appear to have been purchased or stolen for the purpose of weighing the body down. It's of South American origin, and it's distributed by one person in the UK, Chiltern Manufacturing Limited at Eccles. The sash cords are manufactured at Bolton. They're distributed under the trade name Flaxine by a firm called Anderson's, or they come without a trade name on them at all, direct from the manufacturers James Levers and Son of Orient Mills Bolton. Anybody who sold these two items together about the 2nd October or can see someone in suspicious circumstances who might have had them or who might have had them stolen, we would like them to come forward and speak to us. We think this might be a new line for the inquiry.
Right, this has never been revealed in public before, this information.
This is the first time it has been disclosed.
Now, you believe that Laurence's body could have been dropped in Baitings Dam on the Monday night, October the 3rd, so somebody may have seen something suspicious there.
That is correct. We think that someone might have seen something suspicious at the dam or know something about these materials that weighed the body down.
Finally, as a result of the programme Trailers this week, a man has already rung your incident room with some important information, you believe?
That's quite correct. He rang yesterday morning, he gave a name and he told us that he was going to watch the programme tonight. He said he knows of a woman who has vital information for the inquiry, and he said as a result of this programme he will contact us again. I'm appealing for that man to speak to us. It is vital he talks to us. He might be frightened, as anybody else might be, because of the horrific nature of the murder, but we will protect anybody and keep anything they tell us in utter confidence.
Right, so if that was you, please do ring. Here's the number if anybody who thinks they can help. It's 01811 8055, or you can call the police station at Halifax direct on 0422 337 021. That's 0422, the code for Halifax, 337 021.
Last month's reconstructions created significant new leads, and police tell us that in 2 of the 3 cases there may soon be arrests. Christopher Schliak was a sub-editor at Butterworth's, the London publishers, who, after going drinking, was murdered in his flat in Shepherd's Bush. 85 calls from viewers led to new inquiries. There were names of suspects, some still being checked. There was a wealth of background detail about Mr. Schliak. The make and batch of the killer's shirt was identified, and detectives have new information about a man in blood-stained clothes who was seen walking down the Uxbridge Road. Then the abduction of an American coin dealer on his way to Heathrow Airport. Robbers posing as police officers forced his cab to stop and pretended to arrest him. 81 viewers had either witnessed some of the events or thought they'd seen some of the stolen coins, and several suspects' names were offered. Detectives say they're now guardedly optimistic. And there are new hopes of solving the Securico robbery outside the Texas Home Care on the outskirts of Southport. Money that was discoloured by red security dye has turned up, and police have other leads they can't yet reveal. Of course, we'll let you know what happens.
On Incident Desk last month, we appealed about a car hijack that took place near Preston back in August. On the same day, there'd been a similar attempted hijack on the M1 near Wakefield, and we had several calls to Crimewatch. One gave a man's name, another his whereabouts, and in less than 4 hours after we came off the air, a man was arrested in York. He's been charged with making unwarranted demands with menaces and is now in custody.
On Photocall, we showed pictures of a man wanted in connection with a murder inquiry. David Amner had been killed with a shotgun at a friend's flat in Orpington in Kent. Well, a man has now been arrested, though not as a result of Crimewatch. He's been charged with murder, and 3 other people have been charged with shielding him from arrest.
Well, now to this month's Photocall, more pictures of people the police think might be able to help them with their investigations. To describe them, here's David Hatcher.
First, my colleagues in Surrey need to find this man. On Friday the 29th of December 1989, he was caught on security camera as he robbed the Skipton Building Society in Chapel Street, Guildford. He threatened staff and a customer with a knife and got away on foot with nearly £1,600. He's in his early 20s, 5 foot 8 inches tall and of medium build. He has dark brown hair and was wearing a brown car coat and jeans. If you recognise him, please get in touch. Gloucestershire Police would like to speak to Colin Patrick Tier. He may have information about more than 100 burglaries in Gloucestershire, Wiltshire, West Mercia, Sussex and the Thames Valley. Hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of antiques, electrical goods and jewellery have been stolen. Colin Tier is 28, 5 foot 10 inches tall and slim with light brown hair, often worn in a ponytail. He has a number of tattoos, one of a woman on his back, a rose with the name Carol on one arm, and an eagle and a shark on the other. And this one on his neck, it's a scorpion. If you see him, don't approach him. Just call us right away. Next, do you recognise this man, who's seen here trying to rob a central London bank? He's wanted in connection with several robberies totalling £12,000. All the offences took place between March and December last year. On each occasion, he produced a note demanding money. It told the cashier that he had a gun. We think this is only one of 3 robberies he attempted on Friday the 1st of December, and he was also captured by security camera on the 20th of October when he walked away from a London bank with £1,800. He's described as 25 to 30 years old and between 5'5" and 5'9" inches tall. So if you've seen him, ring us now. Finally, my colleagues in Essex are looking for this man in connection with a number of bank frauds totalling £6,200. On the 6th of July last year, at Barclays Bank in Mansfield, Nottinghamshire, he tried to withdraw £2,000. The bank clerk became suspicious as the passport produced looked as if it had been altered. While it was being checked, he left, leaving the passport containing this photo behind. Since then, we believe he's carried out similar offences in Winchester, Stratford-upon-Avon and Bradford. He's between 35 and 40 years old, 6 foot tall, medium build with short dark hair. And he's described as having a very calm manner. So, if you know him or any of our other photo call faces, please get in touch.
And here's the number if you do think there's anyone there you recognise. 01811 8055. 01811 8055.
The great majority of sexual assaults are carried out by people who know their victims or indeed are related to them. Sexual attacks by strangers are comparatively rare. Not surprisingly, then, our experience on Crimewatch is that when one man is convicted for this type of crime, it turns out he's been responsible for a substantial proportion of similar offences. Typically, these men start with relatively minor assaults, but it's important these are always reported to the police because obviously much worse can follow if the offender isn't apprehended. Our next case is about a series of episodes which stretch back at least 6 years, and it's now essential that the culprit is revealed.
I was walking along with my friend when we became aware of a car pulling up behind us. We carried on walking, but the car just kept following us and pulling up behind us. And then as we tried to cross the road, he drove in front of us and blocked our way. It was at this point that he shouted to us quite aggressively, and we became frightened. He was a horrible man, and we were left really shocked.
That was one of over 20 separate incidents that have spanned the north of England. It's here at Preston in Lancashire where the police are coordinating the inquiry. The first attack was back in August 1984, but it wasn't until 1985 that the different police forces realised they were looking for the same man. One of the earliest attacks took place here on the outskirts of Preston itself. It happened during the evening of September the 25th, 1985. A blue Cortina passed a woman as she walked up Kittlingbourne Brow towards Bamber Bridge. Distracted by the sound of a car passing, he let her go.
There's no particular pattern to the way this man operates. He's committed offences in the morning, at lunchtime, and in the late evening. He does seem to favour residential areas and appears to have a good local knowledge of them.
Police had circulated the registration number of the car used in the attempted abduction, though the plates were known to be false. 6 months later, the car was spotted at Darwen in Lancashire by PC Malcolm Goldsworthy.
At the top of Pole Lane, you can either go left or right. This vehicle chose to go left, and I continue to follow. We are now onto Marshhouse Lane. The driver of this vehicle must have known exactly where he was going, because this is an area of Darwen that you would need to know where you were going. All the way down Marshhouse Lane, you have alternative turnings to the left and right, and this vehicle didn't take any of those. As he comes to Priory Drive, he then turns left into Priory Drive. In other words, this vehicle is now trying to do a complete circle. He immediately put his foot down, and being a much higher-powered vehicle than mine, I just lost him along Priory Drive.
12 miles from Darwen and 5 miles from Preston is the town of Leyland. 2 years after that police chase and 3 reported incidents later, 2 girls were walking back to school after their lunch break.
You must have a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Oh, I can't do this anymore.
Keep those sweets in your mouths, girls.
Coming back, come quick. He's coming anyway, so... Do you know who it is?
You look lovely, you two girls.
As the man followed them, his language became abusive and distressing. But by now the girls were near their school, and as they approached the gates, the car sped off.
The man we're looking for is a brazen, persistent character. He makes no attempt to hide his face when he commits these offences. He seems to pre-plan his crimes rather than they be of an opportunist nature. Witnesses have described him as being 5'8" to 5'10", late 30s to early 40s, heavy build, slightly overweight, with fair, receding, curly hair. In the earlier attacks, the man used a blue Ford Cortina, registration mark NMP 209T. But in 1986, he changed to what witnesses have described as a silver-grey Ford Granada. He changed the number slightly, so it became NMP 209Y. We think this is because the Y suffix was more appropriate to the year of manufacture of the Granada. What is most important is that neither of those registered numbers have been issued by the DVLC, and we would appeal to anybody who has seen either of those numbers on the vehicles to come forward.
The attacks continued into 1989. On Friday, September the 29th, a young woman had been at a friend's house and to get home caught the 551 bus to the terminal at Lee. She walked along Twist Lane into Furs Lane and cut through the petrol station into Faith Street. A silver-grey car followed her.
Know where the Bedford Square? Do you know the way to Bedford Square?
I don't know.
Am I in late?
Yeah, that's right.
As she leant into the car, the man indecently assaulted her, but she managed to escape.
So far, nobody's been physically injured, but obviously a number of women and girls have suffered very traumatic experiences. My main worry is what will this man do next?
Police desperately need your help. They're appealing in particular for anyone who might have seen a silver-grey Ford Granada, like this one, with the number NMP 209Y. Once again, this is the man police are looking for. He's in his late 30s, early 40s, about 5'9", with short fair hair. If you recognise him, please call us.
And here's the number, if you think you know the man or can help in any way. Typically, he stops women and asks directions, or maybe you've seen him changing number plates before he tries one of these approaches. 01 811 8055. Now, that's the number here in the studio. You can talk to police officers. If you prefer, you can talk to a BBC researcher. Or you can call the Lancashire Police Headquarters direct. That's Preston 617771. That's 0772, the code for Preston, 617771.
Well, now some more news from last month's programme. In Aladdin's Cave, no fewer than 13 items have been claimed so far. Among them, the lovely jewellery box, which was recognised by a viewer in Warwickshire, and the hoofless horse, which had been stolen from an antique dealer's car last March. And on Photocall, we asked if you recognised either of these faces, passport photographs. These two people might be able to help South Yorkshire police in their investigations into a fraudulent attempt to withdraw money from a Doncaster bank. Now the Metropolitan Police have linked that investigation to a nationwide fraud involving the use of stolen passports at banks to obtain money. There's been no information at all so far on the woman, who gave her name as Mrs. Susan Mary Jackman. Do you recognise her? If you do, please ring Southgate Police on 01 803 3311. That's 01 803 3311.
You may recall a reconstruction last July based in Dundee. Customers found a gun shop closed one morning, and when people became suspicious and called the police, the manager, Gordon Johnston, was found murdered. As a result of the publicity, not just from Crimewatch, a crucial witness came forward and helped identify the killers. Last month at the High Court in Perth, 2 men were sentenced to life imprisonment. They were given further prison sentences to run concurrently for 2 other very serious, unrelated crimes.
Well, now to Incident Desk, some brief appeals on crimes around the country. In Plymouth, a search for witnesses who could help to solve a rape case. In Hampshire, the death of a chef in an arson attack on the pub where he worked. And in the Midlands, the hunt for a man disguised as a vicar and carrying a shotgun. Here with the details is Superintendent David Hatcher.
First, we need your help to solve the rape of a 15-year-old girl in Plymouth last September. The girl had arranged to meet a friend in Old Town Street at 7:45 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of September. As she waited there, a man who'd been following her began to pester her. Then he dragged her down an alleyway beside Marks and Spencer's and into a car park behind the store where she was raped. The man is described as in his late 20s, 5'6" to 5'7" inches tall, with long, straggly blonde hair and a thick moustache. He was wearing light blue jeans and a red anorak with white stripes down the side. We also need to trace some people who were in the area at the time and who may have important information about the attack. During the rape itself, an elderly man came into the car park but left straight away. He was wearing a dark-coloured raincoat and was walking a small dog on a lead. We believe he saw the attack but didn't realise what was happening. And before the rape, while the girl was waiting in Old Town Street for her friend, she saw her attacker talk to a family. He seemed to know them. They were a middle-aged couple with 2 children, a girl of about 5 and a boy of about 13. If you were one of those people or have any information about the rapist, do call us now. Next, Cumbria Police need your help on a murder case that's developed into a national inquiry. It's centred on a refuse tip near Millham in southwest Cumbria. On Friday the 1st of December, a council worker discovered the body of a boy aged between 1 and 1.5 in an area of the tip that's open 24 hours a day. In spite of an intensive police operation, the officers still don't know the child's identity. We need to hear from anyone who visited the tip between 5 p.m. on Thursday the 30th of November and 9 a.m. the following Friday morning. A car was seen reversing away from the tip that night. Now, it was a red or maroon-coloured saloon car with round headlamps and a square back. And we need to trace the owners of these items. They were put on the tip during the night. First, this man's red and grey jumper with the Cube label inside. And these pieces of material could have been curtains or mattress covers. And this towel has a distinctive W printed on the edge. Do you recognise them? In particular, we're appealing to a woman who rang the police incident room at the beginning of December. She didn't give her name, but said she was from Whitehaven. If that was you, please call back. If anyone has information about the death of this child or the disappearance of a 1 to 1.5-year-old boy, ring us now. Next, if you recognise this unusual tattoo, you could help solve an armed robbery of a jeweller's in the City of London. Over £250,000 worth of jewellery was stolen from H. Samuels in Wormwood Street on Sunday the 3rd of December, just after 10 in the morning. 3 men were involved, 1 black, 1 Mediterranean-looking and 1 white. The white man had a Northern Irish accent and wore several rings. The staff remember a large claw-like tattoo, like this, on the inside of his left forearm. The men were armed with knives and a revolver and semi-automatic like these. They carried walkie-talkies and took the jewellery in this type of Jaguar bag. Most of the items stolen were expensive Rolex watches like these. The jeweller's is very close to Petticoat Lane Market, so if you were in the area on that Sunday the 3rd of December, maybe you can help. There is a reward. Next, an arson attack on a pub in Hampshire which led to 1 man's death. About 2:30 a.m. on Tuesday the 5th of December, there was an explosion at the Jolly Farmer pub in the small village of Blackness near Alton. The entire building was demolished and Clifford Howes, who lived there, died. Very little is known about Mr. Howes, who was a very private man. He'd been employed as a chef at the pub for the past 10 years. The investigating officers still don't know what the motive for the attack was, but they do know that it was planned. Around the time of the explosion, a car was heard speeding along the Frith End Road, travelling towards the A325. If you visited the Jolly Farmer that week, or were in the area at the time, that is, the early hours of Tuesday the 5th of December, then please call us. Now, finally, police in the West Midlands are trying to trace a bogus vicar who attempted to rob a florist and his wife. It was late in the afternoon of Sunday the 10th of December last year. A couple in Bilston near Wolverhampton answered a knock at their front door. They were greeted by 2 men, one of whom was dressed as a vicar and claimed to be from St Bartholomew's Church. The vicar suddenly produced a sawn-off shotgun and threatened the couple, but the florist managed to wrestle the gun out of his hands. The 2 men then ran off and got into an F registration blue Ford Sierra estate. The bogus vicar is described as over 30 years old, approximately 5'9" tall and medium build. This is the gun which he used in the attempted robbery. The serial number is 524435 and it was loaded. We believe this incident may be linked to a burglary the following day in nearby Wolverhampton, where a woman was tied up in her own home. This is an artist's impression of the burglar, who made off with cash and jewellery. We think he's the same man as that bogus vicar. If you recognise him or have any information on any of our incident desk cases, please phone us now.
01 811 8055, that's the number if you can help. We're live, of course, and the lines are open now. 01 811 8055.
We're already getting a very good response on the Laurence Winstanley case. Police are very anxious that a caller rings back who says that the body was seen being dumped in the reservoir, or what might have been the body being dumped on the Sunday or the Monday night. Also on the passport bank fraud, we've got several callers who've made the same identification of the man in the photograph we showed. Now, our next case is about 4 young men who drew a great deal of attention to themselves. Several witnesses said of them independently that they simply looked suspicious. And when the men acted, they did so quite brazenly. Our reconstruction begins 2 months ago near Warrington in Cheshire. This is the Saracen's Head pub at Lymm, where every Wednesday there's an antiques fair. Stall owners come from all over the north of England.
And of course, when they do, I just take it off them and put them down, because these were new.
Joe Fox and his wife Dorothy have run a stand here ever since the market started 16 years ago.
It's rather a small wrist you'd have to have for that, because it's been soldered to save you losing it.
On Wednesday, November the 15th, at about 7, stallholders became worried about 3 men who were wandering separately around the hall. One wore a brown and white check jacket. One had a dark blue jacket and denims. And the other wore a woolly hat and donkey jacket.
How much is this?
It's £24.
Can you weigh it for me?
I'm afraid we're busy at the moment.
I'll have it.
It's 24.
The men hung around for another 3/4 of an hour. 3 days later, a bus driver saw 2 men loitering at Manchester Airport's long-stay car park.
Well, can I help you? Just want to know where you pay.
The driver of the shuttle bus noticed these 2 men had a small blue car.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
It pulled out behind him as he drove off. Then, as they approached the exit, he saw another 2 men in a white Vauxhall Astra, which pulled in behind the blue car to form a convoy. In fact, we now know this Astra was being stolen. After they went through the barrier, the Astra swerved past him so violently that the bus driver noted down its number and immediately reported it to the police. This is 4 days later, Wednesday, November the 22nd.
Well, yes, it's cruising, so it makes it that bit longer. You can push this one. This one. That one.
Some of the stallholders recognised this man from the previous week.
Somebody seems to be following us.
Have you any idea who it is?
No. God, he's getting close. God's sake!
A mile down the road, these 2 witnesses watched the car chase pass them by. One tyre was now deflated, and when they came to a well-lit area, Joe Fox decided to seek refuge.
We don't want to hurt anybody. We just want your valuables, right? Your jewellery. Now, where is it? Don't get out. Stay where you are. Now, where's your valuables? Your jewellery?
In the back.
It's in the back.
As villagers looked on, Dorothy made a run for help.
Can you go get help, please? Can you go? No, I can't get him. My husband's going.
She then ran back and struggled with one of the robbers. This couple called the police, and Joe may have injured one of the attackers. Two hours later, a couple found the Astra abandoned about a mile away.
The engine's still running.
Now that's in Longbutt Lane that the car was abandoned. I gather you've got a pretty good clue to one of the robbers at least.
We're sure that at least one of the robbers will have injured himself quite severely. When the cars actually made contact...
That's when Mr. Fox reversed his Mercedes into the getaway car.
Certainly one of the offender's arms was trapped in the door on impact. We're sure there will be crush injuries to that arm.
So he might have gone to seek, in fact, probably did go to seek medical attention.
I'm sure he will have had to. And we would appeal to any doctors or hospitals or anybody who knows of a man with that type of injury to contact us. Round about the 22nd of November, they've noticed an injury of that nature, if they could contact us.
Now, we've got some pretty good descriptions of the people who were going around the Saracen's Head at Lymm, who seem to be sort of checking it out.
Yes.
Can you tell us about those people?
The first man would be 5 feet 10 to 6 feet, slim build, 30 years of age approximately. He was the man wearing the donkey jacket and the dark-coloured hat. The second man would be a little smaller, 5 feet 6 to 5 feet 8, again slim build, mid-20s, with strawberry blonde hair, which was long at the back.
What do we know about the third man?
Just that he was about 5 feet 8, stocky build, with dark-coloured hair.
Then there was a fourth man who might not have been involved in the actual assault, but was seen at Manchester Airport at the car park there.
Yes.
What do we know of him?
He was a man of mixed race, 5 feet 10 tall, 25 years of age or thereabouts, and had black curly hair.
Now, it must be said, the shuttle bus driver at the car park was very alert. He saw that man by what seemed to be a small, I think it was bluish car, is that right?
Small blue car.
Difficulty, because of course it was at night, sodium lighting, so the colour might not be exactly right. It could be that was the car that they'd taken in to steal the white Astra, of course.
We believe that is the case.
What do we know about the white Astra? It was stolen on that Saturday, was therefore kept for 3-4 days before the robbery.
The Astra, registered number F994, FUG, must have been kept somewhere during that 4 days. It had travelled 150 miles, which is not a great distance. Must have been in the general area of Manchester or Liverpool.
Okay.
We need to know where it was.
Don't ring us if you know where that car is now. It's been recovered and is with its rightful owner. Quickly tell us about these two rings here.
These are similar to some of the rings that were stolen. 3 of these graduation rings from Cambridge University, and the Harlequin mass rings, ladies' gold. OK, the attack on the jewel dealers was much, much worse than we showed in the reconstruction. If you can help, 01 811 8055 is the number here in the studio. If you think you can help, you can, if you prefer, phone the incident room direct. That's on 0244 313 131. That's 0244, the code for Chester, 313 131.
Well, there are some more faces, some from photographs, some from security cameras, all people you might know or might have seen. To take us through them, here again is David Hatcher.
First, my colleagues from Merseyside need your help to find this woman. On the 18th of May last year, she robbed a bank in Smithdown Road, Liverpool. Wearing a scarf round her face, she held a gun to a customer's head and told the cashier to fill a white plastic bag with money. She robbed the same bank in November last year. Again, she held a gun to a customer's head and demanded cash. This time, though, she concealed her face with an anorak as well as a scarf. And on the 21st of November, she tried to rob a building society in Derby Lane, Liverpool, but fled empty-handed. She's in her mid-20s, 5'3" to 5'7", quite slim, with brown hair, which she has dyed blonde. If you recognise her, please call us. Next, the Metropolitan Police need to find this man who, since August 1985, has committed at least 25 frauds. We've built up quite a file of pictures of him over the last 5 years, in the course of which you can actually see him ageing. So far, he's got away with over £100,000 from branches of the same bank. mainly in London and the home counties. He's now in his early 30s. He's 5'10", has brown hair and a London accent, and may wear glasses. If you've seen him, please let us know. Lincolnshire Police need your help to find Philip Raymond Neville. He may have information about a large number of deceptions using stolen chequebooks and credit cards from which over £7,000 has been obtained. He may be driving either a red Fiat Strada Cabriolet, registration number B195SNG, or a white Peugeot 205 three-door saloon. The registration number of that is E325NEW. He's 40, 6'2", stocky build and has a southern accent. And he's said to be a very plausible character, so if you know where he is, ring us now. And finally, my colleagues from Guildford in Surrey are coordinating the search for this armed man who's seen here robbing the Alliance and Leicester Building Society in Bury St Edmunds, Suffolk, last November. Later the same month, he raided the Leeds Permanent in Dover, Kent, and in December he held up the National and Provincial Building Society in Guildford. He's netted nearly £5,500 so far. This well-travelled robber is in his early 20s, between 5'10" and 6 feet tall. And he has fair hair over which he has worn a dark knitted hat. A scarf from the Next menswear chain covered his mouth and nose, but a lot of his face is still visible. So if you recognise him or any of our other photo call faces, then call us now.
01811 8055. That's the number if there's anyone you've seen or think you've seen. 01811 8055.
And we're still getting a lot of calls. Before we go, a lot of callers have suggested that the towel that we showed in the child's body inquiry may be prison issue, which officers are aware of, but what we need to know is which prison it comes from. And we've had some good leads on the car driven by the Lancashire attacker. And that just about closes our files for this month. Please do keep trying if you found it difficult to get through so far. Our address, if you'd like to write to us, is Crimewatch UK, BBC Television, London W12 7RJ. And that and the police phone numbers are all on CFAX, page 618, if you have that. Now, we're going to be back an hour from now with Crimewatch Update. And beyond that, I'll be back with more reports on tonight's results on Daytime Live, just after midday, tomorrow on BBC One.
You may have read last month of a government report on fear of crime. It praised Crimewatch, but it also raised the question of crime programmes heightening the fear of crime. This is a problem we've always been acutely aware of. The report is clearly right in its conclusion that fear of crime is often hugely out of proportion to the danger, which, as we point out each month, is, for most people, actually very small. Violent crime is rarer than people tend to think. Crimewatch, of course, brings together what are really isolated cases. So don't have nightmares, do please. Sleep well. Good night.
Good night.